The Jets were this close to signing Odell Beckham this past offseason. He did an interview with the Punchline podcast. He drops a bombshell about the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets!
Welcome in. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, before we hop into the video, I want to thank the sponsor of the channel, SKG Tax. The New York Jets practice and play in New Jersey. This tax season, Jets fans may struggle with their state tax identity. If you are a fan and can't determine how to report your income, call JR the Tax Czar and address all your multi-state tax questions. Don't go on the road to another state as a wildcard filer. Hire yourself a CPA to game plan and defend your home turf. If you want to support the channel, support SKG Tax. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. Guys, I want to talk a little bit about Odell Beckham Jr. He gave an interview on the Punchline podcast with Marlon Humphrey, and he said some not so great stuff about the New York Jets, and I think it's going to hurt us in the long run. So I want to listen to the audio clip of it, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
I think in my heart, like, I was set to go back to New York and be a Jet.
Really?
Long story short, like, I remember getting a call over the weekend. They were like, hey, this is the Ravens, right? This is our offer. What is it going to take for you to not take that visit? And, chopped it up.
They came like that.
They said, if you do get on that plane, like, just know that the offer is off the table.
Ooh.
And I was like, can you give me 20 hours to, like, talk to my people because I'm in a different time zone. This is late.
I like how the Ravens talk business.
I liked it too.
Now, that was just the first part of the audio clip. The Ravens came in with an aggressive offer and basically said, if you get on that plane, this offer's off the table, so don't even take that interview with the New York Jets. They came in hot and heavy. Now, I'm not super beat up about losing Odell Beckham Jr. to the tune of 1 year, $15 million, which is what the Ravens ended up giving him. This year, he put up 35 receptions, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So on a cost perspective, not crazy. Like, it's not like the Jets missed out on a massive signing here. Now, I do think you may have different stats if you have a different style offense, and obviously without Aaron Rodgers here, it's kind of a moot point anyway. But the next part of the interview is what I thought was the most damning part for the New York Jets.
You know when God wants you to walk through the door that he has for you, not the door that your heart desires?
Ooh, if you're going to preach then, now. Come on, now.
My heart desired to be in New York again.
Oh, crap.
Hold on, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you.
Sorry, my bad.
To be in New York again, to be able to, you know, whether there's marketing money, you know, the Jets, and it's kind of like, you know, I even had the number picked out. I'm DMing the punter or whoever it was at the time, like, hey, let me buy that off you. Like, you know, like, I'm set in stone, like, this is where I'm going. And they just kind of slow played the offer or felt disrespect. Like, they just kind of thought that they had it in the bag, that they were the best team, and that it would be a privilege for me to be over there. I think it's that quote, like, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
In an offseason where the Jets are trying to go for a Super Bowl, this is not the type of, like, interview process or way to handle free agents that I kind of am hoping for. Now, I will say this. I do like what Odell said, and I think it could be seen through two different lights. Like where he said, the Jets felt like it would be an honor for me to play for them and that type of thing. And I think that could very much come off that way. But I think what we've heard from Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, we want players that want to be here. And I think maybe that could be construed a little differently. But the fact that you slow rolled a contract and like didn't really like go after Odell, at some point, it comes down to a human level. And you want to go where you're wanted, not where you're like tolerated, which is what he says at the end here. And that's not like super great because we already got some recruiting issues of our own. I already put out a video on Keith Carter and how, you know, he was put on blast by Taylor Lewan and Mekhi Becton, and Brees chimed in on all that. So if you want to check that out, you can take that video. But yeah, we're going to have a hard time bringing in offensive linemen already. And then this interview drops. This actually comes out tomorrow. This interview hasn't even come out. This was just a little snippet of what's going on. So I do want to hear the whole thing. But this is going to be rough for the New York Jets. I don't see how, you know, this plays out great. This coming in from Zach Rosenblatt. He added a little bit more context here. Obviously, the Jets were highly involved with Odell last year, very close to signing him. The Jets felt they were the best team, which, you know, is what Odell said in there. It would be a privilege to play for them. The Jets' initial offer to Odell was very competitive from what I understand, but the Ravens' offer of 1 year, $15 million was understandably too high. Aaron Rodgers and Beckham are friends and wanted to play together. So I don't necessarily, I'm not upset at the contract offer that the Jets declined, because 1 year, $15 million is a lot of money to give Odell, especially when you already committed 4 years, $44 million to Lazard. You just redid Quentin Williams' contract. You're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, who's got a massive contract. And like salary cap space does tend to get a little tough. But The part that I really don't like is that you're going to have to try and recruit wide receivers. You're going to have to try and recruit offensive linemen. Now, are they more likely to come here? We already have a stadium that's deemed like the worst stadium to play in by NFL players because everyone's tearing ACLs on MetLife's turf. Like the state taxes, we're going to have a lot of hurdles that the Jets have to try and clear to try and get a lot of these free agents. And there's not a lot of offensive tackles. I mean, there's a lot of guards and things like that, interior offensive linemen. We need 2 tackles. We need a second wide receiver. There's positions that need to be filled out with premium type players. And I don't know if the Jets are doing themselves any favor by keeping Keith Carter or having interviews like this wind up coming out where you're like not really courting the player. You want to be able to make the player feel like they're wanted where you are. Like wine and dine them. I remember hearing stories of like Tannehill whining and dining different free agents out in the city. And it's like, let's do that. Like, come on. We want to be a place where people want to play. And I understand there's a delicate balance. You don't want to overpay for someone and you want them to want to be there. So there is 2 lenses to this. But I just think the Jets are being framed in a very funky way right now. And I don't get the warm and fuzzy feeling that we're going to have a super attractive landing spot for free agents this offseason. I'm interested to hear from you guys. What do you think of this particular soundbite and clip? Do you think it means, you know, what we're kind of seeing with Keith Carter? And I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. And as always, go Jets.
Jets!